into my briefing. As you know, the government of Uganda enacted the Building Control Act 2013 in a bid to consolidate, harmonize, and amend the law relating to the erection of buildings, to provide for building standards. You know, we have not been having building standards established, to establish a National Building Review Board, which we have, and building committees in the different local government areas, to promote and ensure planned, decent, and safe building structures that are developed in harmony with the environment and on all other related matters. Of course, we work in consonance with the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Planning, because they're the ones who are responsible for planning. And as you know, the whole country was turned into a planning entity. So we worked in coordination with them. The act was commenced on April 2018, following which the first board was inaugurated in October 2018. I think many of you attended when we were inaugurating our first board of the National Building Review Board. The act established the National Building Review Board as a body corporate under my ministry to do the following. 1, monitor building developments. 2, ensure that the design and construction of buildings and utilities to which the public is to have access caters for persons with disabilities. I think many of you are witnesses to this. If you go to many of the buildings in Kampala, especially those ones which were developed in the early times, there's no provision for people with disabilities, PWs. It's just now that it's a requirement that every new structure makes that provision. But in some of the buildings we have, you can't, including mine, including mine here. If I was to get a PW minister with a wheelchair, he could not go up in that office up there. So most of our buildings were not meeting standards, and they are not provided for PWs. And that's one of the things which the board is overseeing. The board also oversees and inspects and monitor the operations of the building committees. As I've said, building committees have been established at local governments. But we monitor them, the board monitors them, to ensure that they do what is expected of them, including training. They have been doing trainings in many of the local governments to train these building committees, to know what they are supposed to do, so that we can get quality buildings. The board also hears and determines appeals from persons who are dissatisfied with the decisions of these building committees. Sometimes human beings being what they are, they also play market tricks. Either they delay to pass the plans, or they ask for unnecessarily many things which are not a requirement. And somebody who's a developer wants to develop his property, but is being frustrated by a building committee. So where does he appeal? He appeals to the board, and the board handles such kind of issues. Determine the fees to be charged by urban and district building committees for approval of plans, issuance of building permits, and occupation permits. I hope that many of you know that, and I know that many of you have been building your own houses. I don't know how many of you have got occupation permits before you entered that house. If I was to check now, I don't know how many would qualify that you have officially entered that building. Because many of us, olumala okuzimba, you just enter into the building. You are supposed to have an occupation permit issued to you to ensure that the building has been inspected by especially the Minister of the Health people and all that it meets the requirements.